first fighter, fighting out of the Allure Properties blue corner. He weighed in at 169 pounds. He makes his professional mixed martial arts debut here tonight. He's representing Modern Gladiator out of Roanoke, Virginia. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Antwan Curtis. And his opponent, fighting out of the Knoxville Mortgage Brokers red corner. He weighed in at 174 pounds. He has a record of 0 wins with just 1 defeat. He's representing Legion MMA out of Hendersonville, Tennessee. This is Krazy Kyle Lee. Your referee is Luke Wilson.
Luke Wilson, our referee in charge, as we get ready to start the very first professional bout of the evening. So, of course, 3 5-minute rounds. Not sure this one's going to need all 3 5-minute rounds. The over-under, juiced to the under for good reason. Both these guys typically finishers. But, of course, Kyle Lee coming off a serious injury, so going to be interesting if there's a feeling out process or if he gets back to his ways. And his ways are traditionally stand in the pocket and swing.
And that was in 2020, so that wasn't that long ago.
How much is it going to play in his mindset? Is he going to be a little bit more hesitant? He's looking like he's still wanting to engage.
Yeah, he's moving.
The interesting thing, too, is Kyle Lee's very good on the ground. I believe BJJ purple belt, but someone who's had the most success getting the fights to the ground. However, as a fighter, he just loves to stand in the pocket and trade. It did not work out for him in his pro debut against Bubba Cruz, a very heavy-handed opponent. But now it'd be interesting if he goes back to his bread and butter or if he's going to do the same thing. Because, of course, Antwan Curtis has some amateur kickboxing experience. He's long, he's rangy. The best game plan is probably not stay to the outside with this guy. But when you get in there and the cage door closes and the lights are bright and the fans are cheering, sometimes you just want to put that spectacle on.
Yeah, and already Curtis was looking a little bit more calm, cool, relaxed. He was kind of doing more of the stalking, taking center of the cage.
Brief groin strike calls not much of a halt, just a little break. Antwan Curtis ready to resume, but something worth noting for Kyle Lee that's going to have to make sure he knows where those kicks are going. You definitely don't want to lose a point in a 3-round fight. But again, I don't know this one makes it the distance, but all the same.
And you do really have to watch out for that when you have an orthodox versus a southpaw. Those groin strikes are right there.
Yes, they tend to stray up. And with someone who's kind of unorthodox in Antwan Curtis, the way he closes distances, you're definitely unintentionally hitting him, but he kind of slides into that range sometimes. Effectively using that southpaw stance is Antwan Curtis. Nice jab, and he's fighting very long.
Long reach, yeah, long legs, long reach.
Lee returning fire with a pair of body kicks. One of them got a response. But so far, it just seems like the technical striking of Antwan Curtis just a lot smoother, a lot more confident.
I think he's feeling that too. I think that he knows that he's a little bit sharper on his feet. He's not rushing anything. He's not getting too excited.
Alexis, we're 2 minutes into the first round. If you're Kyle Lee, at what point do you think maybe try to get this fight down to the ground?
I think at this point, it looks like right now that Antwan Curtis is looking for the takedown. But as soon as he gets in that cage, he's getting hit with a lot of strikes. I think it might be a good opportunity now that they're tied up for, Krazy Kyle Lee to look into work on that takedown. He's got good experience on the ground too. He's a BJJ purple belt, so I'd like to see him work with it.
He just landed a short little elbow in the clinch there. He's definitely got some offense.
Yeah, I think if the fight was a little bit closer, if Lee was throwing a little bit more, landing some shots, I'd say wait until the last minute, take him down, secure the round type deal. But here, I think he's just behind on the striking. He's moving a lot, but he's also getting hit a lot. Being the shorter guy, I think his chin's up a little bit too much. He's trying to reach and overcompensate for his lack of reach there. I think Lee needs to get his chin down a little bit and start to look for his takedown.
Both men back in the clinch here. This seems like the better position for Lee. Doesn't have to worry about that distance management. He can kind of dirty box him a little, land some short knees to the thigh if need be, and just kind of slow down the pace. But you're 100% right, Dustin. At distance, it seems like Antwan Curtis is just really feeling himself, touching him up with the jab, definitely scoring points with the judges. And this is where Lee's going to have his most success. If he can't get the fight to the ground, he just needs to neutralize that space.
Yeah, get good head position here would be nice from Lee. Start to work his dirty boxing, start to work the elbows. Maybe if he can reach a knee up there, get some knees to the leg, just start to do some damage here. Because this is definitely in favor of Lee right now. And we have a minute left to go in the fight.
I'd like to see a little bit more striking. Like, we're in the prone, and we can start seeing those elbows throw in.
Double underhooks now by Lee. Looks like he might be in a good position to take Antwan Curtis down. But Curtis doing an excellent job of keeping his hips against the cage. He's moving them. And Lee's going to have to probably push and pull him off the cage. Oh, Curtis, excellent job getting an underhook back.
You see Curtis's legs, for a majority of the time, they're together. That's a good opportunity.
And one has to wonder with Lee, you're coming off such a major injury. Like, is he confident in his ability to drop down with the double leg? Is he confident in his ability to push through? Because, of course, you know, opponents tend to post up on the neck more often than not. And if you're not fully confident in yourself, you might be a little hesitant. Hesitancy in MMA doesn't typically work out.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't favor the fighter.
Curtis still relaxed, fighting well out of his southpaw stance, and a switch stance fighter too. Well, you see him briefly go to orthodox.
Give him a little shake and bake there.
Yeah, 10 seconds left in this opening round. A good first round for Antwan Curtis, but not a terrible round for Kyle Lee, who had some success in the clinch, but he's going to have to figure out another game plan into the second, because unless Antwan Curtis
that is your round one. We are headed to a second round.
It looks like Lee's starting to slow down a little bit. And now the last few minutes of that round, I'd like to see him still keep up with his movement, step more towards the outside. You know, if Curtis is fighting in that southpaw, you got to be on the outside. You got to be outside with that foot. So I think that's where a lot of the strikes are coming off.
Yeah, I agree. I think Lee did look good once he got out of that clinch. He started throwing a 1-2 kick. He started throwing combinations instead of just a one and done type deal. And yeah, Curtis needs to keep that outside foot to the outside, and he'll be able to land that straight down the center.
If you did get in on the betting action so far tonight, you're currently looking at that plus 115 underdog money on Antwan Curtis, and probably not feeling too bad about yourself. But Kyle Lee definitely not out of this fight. I think if his coaches realized he had his most success in the clinch and they implore him to get back to that position and maybe complete a takedown, one, would definitely help score, but two, just leaning and grinding on Antwan Curtis and trying to put that 6 pounds to good use should hopefully tire him and then avoid him from having such dynamic striking from the outside, because when he's fresh and he's confident, Lee just doesn't have a whole lot of answers for closing up that distance. Although I will give him this, Kyle Lee's kick game is not bad. He's landed a couple good body kicks. He tended to go body and then a head kick, most of them being blocked. However, even a block kick, you know, it's still landing on the forearm and adding up some damage.
Yeah, and he's throwing them, you know, and sometimes that's just half the battle, is just letting your strikes go. You know, I've been in fights where I'm just like, man, I see it's there, and I just am not throwing it. So good on him for just letting them go, setting them up, letting them go.
And Antwan respectful, he's not just running in blind. But Lee's figured out, if I'm going to stay at range, I'm not going to box with them. I'll let my kicks go, and maybe that will connect. He's doing an okay job of throwing stuff out.
I'd like to see a little bit more of the fakes and feints, kind of set things up a little bit more. Like you said, he's got great kicks. He needs to set it up.
Antwan Curtis doing a good job of feinting, but Lee's not biting on any of them. Oh, let's see if Antwan wants to go to the ground. This is interesting, because, yeah, that's what I would think. I would think that he has a game plan of keeping this fight standing and staying to the outside. But, of course, the emotions do run wild sometimes, and you never know what they're going to do. But, yes, keeps his mind, his P's and Q's there, and keeps the fight upright.
Oh, heavy shots.
And just like that, MMA.
Drops Curtis. Yeah, wow, great
Way
finish.
to come back.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's a wrap.
Big win for Kyle Lee. You know what? He stayed the course the whole time. He wasn't having the most success, but he had faith in his power. He had faith in his game. He didn't really press for a whole lot of takedowns, so he must have thought, I can beat this man standing. It's only a matter of time. And he just intercepts Curtis coming in through the pocket with a beautiful shot that drops him over. Here I'm talking about Curtis shouldn't get on top of him, and in hindsight, he probably should have, because Lee just as dangerous standing as he was on the ground. And of course, that might be the highlight KO of the night so far, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that was a great finish. Now that I'm more and more intrigued now with that weight, you know, showing up that much underweight. I'm just so curious about that. Lee showed that he had the power, he had the strength, and he had the size.
You know, it seemed a little bit more tentative compared to some of his other fights, whether it was the neck injury or, you know, he's just trying to fill out his game a little bit more. But great turnaround, you know, way to capitalize on a good opportunity.
Well, if you bet the Kyle Lee at -140, your favorite ticket hit. Of course, the real play here was the under 1.5 rounds, which of course did hit. We got an early second round finish. So if you are playing along in action 24/7, congratulations. Things going not too bad to start the night off.
Ladies and gentlemen, your referee Luke Wilson stops this bout at 1 minute and 24 seconds of the first round. Your winner by TKO, out of the red corner, Krazy Kyle Lee.
Kyle Lee picking up his first professional victory, well earned. He's definitely in contention for one of the knockout of the night bonuses. I know that